One.
Good evening and welcome to the council meeting for Monday, September 12th, 2022. Thank you for joining. To begin tonight's meeting, I do want to officially call us to order. And before we turn it over to Councilmember McBride for the opening prayer, just want to ask if we could have a moment of silence at the end of the prayer, commemorating September 11th on yesterday. And the fact that it's hard to believe it's 21 years since that horrible tragedy occurred. And so with that, Councilmember McBride, I'll turn it over to you. Sorry, Councilmember, you're on mute.
You're on mute
Sorry.
again.
Yeah, it turned off of mute and your box highlighted and then it went back on.
Okay.
There it is.
Okay. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you that you've allowed us to go on our several vacations and be able to enjoy ourselves with our family or whatever we saw fit to do. We thank you that you brought us back together safely with no hurt, harm, or danger. We thank you for those that are here today online in Bladensburg and those that are far off. We ask you, Father, to bless us. We ask you to bless the town of Bladensburg. And remember the bereaved families on today that are hurting and still longing for their loved ones. But God, we know that you make no mistake. And God, we ask you to continue to bless the families, to strengthen them and never keep them, God. In the name of Jesus, God, we ask you to bless the town council as we come together. We know that the work is great, but give us a mind to work together. For together we can gain strength and we can do all things. We thank you, Father. We ask you to also bless our police force. Keep them safe, Father, as they go throughout their busy days and nights, even in the early wee hours of the morning, and keep them safe and covered under your blood. Father, we thank you for all things, small and great. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
And now we'll just pause for a moment of silence. Thank you. Again, we honored those who were brave on September 11, 2001, without regard for their own safety, rushed in to provide care and safety to those who were impacted by those tragic terrorist events. And we also want to acknowledge the lives that were lost and those family members who are still trying to find a path forward in the midst of their grief. And so at this time, we'll turn it over to Mr. Tonelli's camera here for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And Mr. Tonelli, thank you for being the flag bearer tonight, since we didn't have our virtual flag this evening. At this time, I'll call for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So move.
Moved by Councilmember Brown. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Rao. Any corrections, amendments, or discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. Tonight's agenda is approved. At this time, it is a very, very special treat to turn our attention over to the Bladensburg awesome police department. We have, I know that on the agenda it says 2 new additions, technically 3. If you missed the work session, then you have to go back and watch it to understand what I'm referring to. But we're so thrilled to have the addition of Major Cedric Dickerson as a new addition to the police department. And then following his swearing in, we'll also have Lieutenant Richard Poole appear for his swearing in. So Chief, before we commence with the swearing in, did you want to do brief introductions of your two newest superstars over there?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Meg. Good afternoon, council, colleagues, and community. First, I'd like to just say, our hearts go out to the men and women of 9/11, and I want to thank the mayor and council for taking time to recognize the bravery and courage that each of those almost 3,800 members lost their lives rushing in to save, perfect strangers, but they lived up to what they served, what they took an oath to do, and that's serve and protect. With that, I would want to introduce two of our new team members, and then I will briefly introduce our third. I'm trying to cue them up. First, I introduce Major Cedric Dickinson. Comes to Bladensburg Police Department with over 33 years of public safety experience. He served over 23 years with the Prince George's County Police Department and obtained the rank of Major District Commander. Prior to retiring in January 2022. Deputy Chief Dickinson served as District 5 Clinton Commander for approximately 6 years and served as District 5 Assistant Commander for approximately 1 year. Deputy Dickinson served in various assignments throughout his career as a Prince George's County police officer, to include District 5 Shift Commander, District 4 Shift Commander, Special Operations Division, K9 Supervisor, National Harbor Unit Supervisor, District 3 Shift Supervisor, and as a field training officer, as well as a police officer. Prior to joining the police department, Deputy Dickinson served with the Prince George's County Department of Corrections for 10 years. Throughout his career, he served as a K9 officer, housing unit officer, transport officer, and processing officer. Throughout Deputy Chief Dickinson's law enforcement career, he has been successful at developing crime reduction strategies, managing and operating an effective and efficient district station, and developing and maintaining strong working partnerships with community leaders and stakeholders. Deputy Chief Dickinson focuses on keeping the community engaged and informed by hosting and participating in numerous police community events, attending numerous coffee club meetings, citizen advisory council meetings, and participating in numerous community walks. Deputy Chief Dixon looks forward to working with Chief Collington and the dedicated men and women of the Bladensburg Police Department. His cliche ends with, together we will work to provide the excellent police services the citizens of the town of Bladensburg deserve. And that is Major Dixon, and I'll read Lieutenant Richard Poole. Lieutenant Richard Poole comes to the Bladensburg Police Department with 26 years of experience in local enforcement, criminal investigations, tactical special operations, emergency management, recruitment, and background investigations, internal affairs investigations, and management of special security events. He has a proven record of developing and building successful partnerships with local, county, state, and federal government leaders and agencies. He has experience in domestic and counterterrorism investigations, special weapons and tactics. He was a member of the SWAT team, crisis negotiations, critical incident management, and response. He is experienced in budget formulation, planning, and execution. He has conducted training for local law enforcement and universities in the areas of homicide investigations and is a certified police instructor. And if I could just say, man, real quick, bringing these two leaders to the organization just further proves that we are moving in the right direction, and we are becoming a highly sought after police department because of the leadership and the experience that we're bringing to keep the town of Bladensburg safe. And I'm so proud to have brought both of these individuals to the team.
Chief, I couldn't agree more. That it's outstanding hearing the deep extent of the background of not just Lieutenant Poole, but also Major Dickerson. So thank you for the recruitment efforts and the team efforts with all the interviews to get us the best of the best. And so with that, I just want to make sure, is Lieutenant Poole here? I'm trying to scroll.
So Lieutenant Poole did have a conflict this evening,
Okay,
and I told him that I would just introduce his bio, and
okay,
we will meet him later.
okay. So
But
if I
his
need
picture
to,
and bio will be in my monthly letter.
perfect. Thank you, Chief. So with that, I will go ahead and administer the oath of office to Major Dickerson. So let's see. Good evening, Major. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Mayor. How are you this evening?
Doing well. Good to see you.
Good. Good evening to the town council as well. I'm pleased to be able to stand before you to take my oath of office.
Wonderful. And I'm sorry it's virtual, but we're going to make it work. And so,
That's absolutely fine.
yes, so let's get underway. So with that,
Yeah.
I'm going to stand. I see you standing.
Yes, I am.
All right, let's adjust this here. All right, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Cedric Dickerson,
I, Cedric Dickerson,
having been duly appointed
having been duly appointed
as Major with the Police Department
as Major with the Police Department
for the town of Bladensburg,
for the town of Bladensburg,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
on this 12th day of September 2022
on this 12th day of September 2022
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the United States of America,
to the United States of America,
to the state of Maryland,
to the state of Maryland,
and the town of Bladensburg,
and the town of Bladensburg,
that I will
that I will
serve honestly and faithfully
serve honestly and faithfully
to uphold and defend
to uphold and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of Maryland,
and the Constitution of Maryland,
and that I will
and that I will
support the charter and laws
support the charter and laws
of Prince George's County
of Prince George's County
and the town of Bladensburg,
and the town of Bladensburg,
and I will,
and I will,
to the best of my skill,
to the best of my skill,
judgment, and ability,
judgment, and ability,
with diligence and faith,
with diligence and faith,
and without partiality
and without partiality
or prejudice,
or prejudice,
execute the position
execute the position
of Major
of Major
with the town of Bladensburg
with the town of Bladensburg
Police Department.
Police Department.
Congratulations.
All right.
I'm air shaking your hand.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. I'll give you a big old hug when I stop by tomorrow.
All
Welcome
right.
officially to the team. Thank you so
Okay.
much, sir.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Again, Chief, thank you so much for bringing the best of the best to the town of Bladensburg. I do want to give the council a moment to just say any words if they would care to welcome Major Dickerson. I know we've met a bit over the summer, but if anyone wants to say anything at this time, don't be shy.
Welcome forward. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank
Welcome
you,
to the
Councilmember.
team. Welcome. Look forward to working with you. We've met and had some brief conversations. So once again, welcome.
Thank you both.
Official capacity, yeah. Mhm.
Thank you, Councilmember.
It's a pleasure to see you get sworn in tonight. I'm a huge supporter of the police department, so looking forward to working alongside you. Let me know if you need anything from me or my kids. They're like unofficial
All
volunteers.
right. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. All right.
And I
At
would like to
this,
say welcome. also.
thank you,
Thank
Councilmember
you.
McBride. Awesome. Okay, so at this time, we will get with Chief in terms of doing the the official swearing in for Lieutenant Poole, so we can make sure to try to get that for the August agenda. But at this time, we'll move on with the agenda for tonight with a wonderful update from our marketing specialist, Mr. Ray Jeffries, regarding the 280th celebration. So over to
Madam
you.
Mayor, point of
Yes.
information. I thought you had another person, another something. I thought Chief Collington.
Oh,
No?
Chief, do you want to do that now or?
We can do it now.
Okay, okay. I didn't see him, so I was like, okay, let me keep it moving. So
Oh,
he's
yeah.
there. Thank you,
Yeah.
Councilmember Rout. He's there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Over to you, Chief.
So we just want to officially introduce our newest member to the police department. We do take health and wellness very serious, and we want to introduce our newest member, our support dog, emotional support and service dog. Want everybody to meet Rocky. Hey, say hello, Rocky. So this is Rocky. He is our
Hi, Rocky.
police department. Just so lovable, and I can tell you he's attracting so many fans right now, and everybody just loves on him.
Look at those kisses. Is Rocky gonna have a Facebook page?
You know what? That's a good point. That is an excellent point.
So we have an emotional support dog in my office. I work for the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and he has more followers than our whole agency. So literally,
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, or at least an Instagram page, you know.
Yeah,
Instagram.
So I can tell you, it's been a struggle trying to see who was going to take him home at night. But
he can come here.
Yep. I tell you, he's been with everybody riding around. He's here now, hanging out with Officer Tinsley, and so he's out patrolling your streets tonight. So if you want to stop and give him a hug, he's here to brighten up your day.
As soon as the meeting is over, I kid you not, I'm hopping in my car and coming down to meet Rocky.
I love him.
Vito says it's worth it.
It is. He's pretty. Rocky's pretty darn.
And you can't, underestimate the value of that emotional support, the way that people connect, with pets, especially in the stressful times that we're dealing with now. I've seen people who don't really like people, but they light up around, beautiful animals like Rocky, and it brings out a sweet and softer side of them. So I'm really excited about just seeing the connections he'll make with members of the community, and appreciate you, Chief, and the staff and the PD being creative and bringing an emotional support animal to our residents. It is truly needed at a time like this. So thank you.
Yes.
Virtual applause.
Yes.
Yes. All right. I'm sorry, Mr. Jeffries, but we got caught up with Rocky. Not that the 280th celebration is not as important. I don't want you to feel slighted. We are so jazzed about this celebration. So I'll turn it over to you for the updates.
Thank you, Mayor. So first I wanted to say good evening, everyone, and congratulations to Major Dickerson and Lieutenant Poole. Welcome aboard. I know you're going to do well in serving our Bladensburg community, and also welcome aboard to Rocky as well. So glad to have him. But yeah, we are celebrating our 280th anniversary of Bladensburg, of the town of Bladensburg. We are the oldest municipality in Prince George's County, so this is huge. And if residents aren't aware, this will be happening on Saturday, October 22nd. From 3:00 p.m. to 7:00 p.m. at the Bladensburg Waterfront Park. There's going to be food trucks, live performances, amusements, and more. So stay tuned for more details about this event and also how we're going to celebrate the 280th anniversary. I can't give you all the details, so just stay tuned for some surprises that's coming up, and also a October that's going to be filled with festivities. So yes, if anyone has any questions about the event itself or the 208th anniversary, feel free to reach out to me, and also follow our social media at Bladensburg MD on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok as well, to get live updates about events in town of Bladensburg updates as well. And also be sure to subscribe to our weekly updates for your email as well, just so you stay tuned into what's going on in your town. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jeffries, for that update. I don't want to spill the beans, but is it fair to say that residents should start studying prominent figures in their Bladensburg history? Can I give that clue so they can be prepared for the event at the waterfront?
Yes, I think everyone should get in touch with their Bladensburg history as well. So
I won't say anything else.
yeah, it'll be a day filled with festivities and also education as well. So it's very exciting, and stay tuned. It's your Bladensburg community is going to be even more lively when October hits. So just stay tuned.
Excellent. And on that note, I do want to thank our community members who have been attending the meetings and offering really, really good suggestions. We appreciate you taking the time each week to join us, or every other week, I should say, and share such wonderful ideas. As we said, we can't do everything, but just, it's been really nice collaborating and having brainstorms with the ideas to really maximize this opportunity, because you only turn 280 once. So, hey, let's do it right. So with that, Mr. Jeffries, thank you for that update. We'll continue on with the next item on the agenda, which is the approval of the July 11, 2022 regular meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Rout. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Brown. Any discussion or corrections? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. The minutes are passed. At this time, I think I turn it back over to you, Mr. Jeffries, for public comments.
Yes, so
Okay.
I have one public comment here from Miss Susan McCutcheon, and it states, "Good evening, Mayor and Council, town staff, and Bladensburgers. The relative lull of summer is over, and we are back in the throes of mundane to broadly consequential activities, from back to school adjustments to major midterm elections that will affect the direction of our country. Again, I urge residents to become involved, which does not mean dedicating your life with all its demands to civic engagement, rather taking a little time to read about what is happening in our world and watch local council meetings and email or call to give your input. Thoughtfully consider what you can do, not just what can be done for you. Vote and be counted, but in an informed way. Do not buy slick political promises without digging deeper. Many politicians will overpromise and yes, lie to give the people what they want to hear so they can be elected. Our Bladensburg 280th anniversary is coming up. I hope residents will come to the celebration, not only because it will be a fun party with fireworks, but to learn about the town's history and think about where we were, where we are today, and where we are going. As far as the history of our famous and historic port, look at the warts and all as you ponder our own participation in the slave trade. Just as with our communities across the nation, our town has evolved for better and for worse, and faces our country's multitude of troubling existential challenges. We need to be involved if we are to have a say in our governance and keep our republic. It is up to us. That is all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jeffries, for reading the public comments. And again, we want to encourage residents to write in each month and share your feedback with the council, the staff, and the community. At this time, since we just had the one for today, we'll move forward in the agenda. There aren't any items under unfinished business, so we're moving on to financial business. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Tonelli for the ARPA funding update.
Thank you, Mayor. Looks like I'm on the agenda for a few minutes to talk about where we are with the American Rescue Plan Act, and I want to share a quick dashboard I did. I call it quick, but it's got a lot of information in there. I include some financials with the financial report, but I think this kind of sums it up a little bit better. Does everybody see it okay? Is it okay? Is it too small?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, so where are we with the American Rescue Plan Act? You see the One of the top lines there, the town was awarded almost $5 million, $4,933,972. That was broken up into 2 tranches. We received one last fiscal year and the other just last month. So half and half that came in. It's held in a separate account, an interest-bearing account over in the Maryland Local Government Investment Pool account that the town owns. That is, and you can see it's earned over $7,000 of interest since being in there. Most of that interest was earned since May when the interest rates went back up again. And this interest goes back into our general, is part of our general revenues, is not included as part of the ARPA funding, which is nice. So you can earn interest on the money that is sitting there, and that goes right into the general fund. So where are we with it? Last fiscal year, we budgeted to use $350,000. This yellow column here, we used just about $250,000 of it. We can see where the bulk of it was in compensation, which was the salary enhancement that we did for the $100 a month for the employees from March 20th through June for all employees. We had rental and community assistance and scholarships, the amount of $45,000. We purchased some trauma kits at the beginning. I think this was for staff and for training. We had computer expenses for upgrades and hardware to upgrade our workstations, mostly over in the police department, dispatch, and also for support personnel. Contractual services last fiscal year, that was for the engineering costs to look at what it would take to do a new municipal building. COVID supplies, these were our test kits, mask, everything else. And also, yes, I'm sorry. Included in there is I got a group down here, I'm sorry, is the contract for the reverse 911 system as well, part of that $17,000. Capital, we purchased one SUV and had it outfitted. So you can see the total expenditures. We really started in October of last year, and this is through June of FY20, which is just a couple months ago. Total $249,000, or I just round up and say $250,000. Okay, so that's last fiscal year. What have we done since? July and August were very busy months. The compensation is what we talked about during the budget cycle, the additional salary enhancement on top of the COLA for the police department employees, for the police officers, and also for public works employees, the 20% and 10% respectively. What we have been busy with is just in the last couple of months is what we've grouped together is called community initiatives. Just about all that is in the form of rental assistance. Once we open this program up, there are several community residents that were in arrears due to struggling with the pandemic and just piling on with the economy right now and with inflation and everything. So we have a rental assistance program that goes through our grant. Folks have to submit an application and all supporting documentation. It's reviewed, and if rental assistance is granted, it goes directly to the leaseholder. So you can see we've done just about all that is rental assistance. A small amount is in scholarships. I'd say about 95% of that, of the 122,000, is in rental assistance. The trauma kits, what we talked about at the June meeting, Chief Collington brought before the mayor and council, was to supply the local schools with the trauma kits and for training. And that was done prior, I believe it was all done prior to school opening. And there's even a nice news story about it on Channel 4 or Channel 9. I forget which one. Anybody see it? We should post that video up. Contractual services for this fiscal year was the down payment for the Shot Spotter program to go ahead and get this program started. And we made small increase to our annual contribution to senior citizens projects. And we've also funded the 4 new SUVs, which still need to be outfitted. The police SUVs, because again, we have to keep the fleet up. And what's nice is, as just a little sidebar, as we've been keeping the fleet up, I see a lot less downtime for repairs, and we also have a streamlined our maintenance services too, I should say. So it seems like there's a lot less downtime. So prior fiscal year, this pink column, mauve, purple, any color you want to call it, is a cumulative of where we are through today. So you can see $665,000 is spent of the 4.9 million. It's about 13% of the COVID funds. Now, COVID funds, just to recap, go through December 2024. So we have FY23, and we still have FY24 coming up, 6 months into FY25, but you really have until FY26, because if you tag expenditures, getting contracts or anything by December 2024, you have until, I think, December or June of 2026 to expend those funds that have been contractually obligated, or, say, I'm still trying to get, as we get closer, and I'm sure they're going to finalize it, if you just budget for it, is that going to be good enough, or do you have to actually have a purchase order and a contract? But we're a year and a half away from that point right now. So you can see the budget balance also in this column that's not highlighted. Budget balance, what is planned or budgeted to be spent by the end of this fiscal year. Again, we're only in September right now, but this is budget. Okay. So let's say we spent the entire budget balance. We would have spent $1.4 million projected at the end of this fiscal year, which is about 29% of total COVID funds. Now, we said we were going to look at this monthly or quarterly, and the emphasis really was, heard from the Mayor and Council, on the community assistance line item here. You can see, I mean, it's been a very busy 2 months here. We're at $122,000. We have a budget balance of $159,000. A lot of the budget, though, as we talked about during the budget process, was placeholders, because we want to see the need and everything else, but we put placeholders in the budget. So as things come up, as projects come up, or as ideas come up with the Mayor and Council, this all can be, of course, updated. So, as we see the needs and everything. So I just wanted, everybody just kind of see like a snapshot, and I probably have another $10,000 to $12,000 of rental assistance applications here on our desk that we're going through the review process and trying to get more information and everything. So, so this budget balance here, $159,000, we're cumulative here for rental assistance, or I'm sorry, community initiatives, could go up to about $180,000 by the end of the week, realistically. Depending on staff availability, though, we're down a couple of staff here, with COVID and everything, so it just slows things down, Tad. So, but that was about 10 minutes, Mayor. So I want to reserve a few minutes for any questions.
Yeah, Vito, I'm sorry, Mr. Tonelli, thank you for that overview. It was super helpful. Councilmember Brown, I'm going to come to you, but before I do that, this is where I just wanted to express my gratitude to the town council for making the ideating about how to utilize the money for COVID to best support our residents in such a positive way. And then also just want to thank the staff for making it just so efficient to actually get the resources where they need to go. in that regard, I'm trying to say this without tearing up, but we had a woman in Ward 2 who reached out to Councilwoman Ivy's office. She was probably 6 months behind just because of being out of work due to COVID, taking care of her mother who's going through chemotherapy, and trying to get her treatments. And right at the moment where she finally got a job over the summer, you know, the evictions had started rolling through a couple of months ago, even though they were on pause during the height of the pandemic. And so she was literally on the verge of being put out, like we're talking a matter of 24 hours. But because of Ms. Greco from Councilwoman Ivy's office getting in touch with me, we got her that application the same day. Within a probably 24-hour period, you all were able to process the check and just provide a copy so that she could take that to her court date. That was on Wednesday. The court date was on Friday. And you guys literally saved this woman and her child and her mother who's dealing with chemotherapy from being homeless. And it chokes me up every time I think about that, but that's how powerful it is to be able to use this money for good. And so to the council, again, I just want to thank you all so much for just being so thoughtful and generous and just open and receptive to that whole process of figuring out how we could best leverage the dollars to help Bladensburg residents. So Councilmember Brown, thank you for your patience. I just had to give you guys a huge shout out, but I want to turn it over to you because I've seen your hand waiting patiently.
Oh, yeah, no, thank you, Mayor, and thanks, because you know that this is a team effort, and when you look at the results and the outcome, it's the outcome of the team coming together and doing what I think that what we are supposed to do, and that is to help people and to help our Bladensburg residents, and we were fortunate enough to receive the amount of ARPA funding that we received. So definitely thank you to the council, you as well, Mayor. Thank you to the staff for just rolling up your sleeves and jumping in and making sure that we had the not just the vehicle, but we had because kind of like at the drop of a hat, there had to be some guidelines and stuff that were additional ones that had to be put in place so that we will to make sure that we continue to stay in compliance. Because that's really big for us. But the other part that I just want to contribute, and thank you, Mr. Vito, as well. But I just wanted to let all of our residents, let the ones who have tuned in tonight know that the town is going to do a distribution. So all of our residents will be aware of this program, the American Rescue Plan Act, and providing the rental assistance, mortgage assistance, and utility assistance. But want to let residents know that it's while the funds last. So the program is not perpetuity, but however, it's going to be around hopefully for a few more years. So we, our Ray, he has designed this really beautiful flyer for distribution. So we are going to go through the EDDM, the Every Door Direct Mailer. They have 5 routes. The U.S. Postal Service, they have 5 routes. So we're going to do a phased approach, and each one of those routes, one of those five routes, and we'll continue to look at that. But that's how the flyers are going to, postcards are going to be disseminated to everyone in Bladensburg, so that they will be aware of this rental assistance, the opera of rental assistance, rental, mortgage, and utilities. So that's important as well, because there's a distinction between that rental, the mortgage, and the utilities, or the utilities through this community initiative. So we are going to roll that out. We're going to roll that out, should be between now and our next meeting in October. So just wanted to give that little heads up there to let those who are participating know that all of the residents in Bladensburg will receive the information and will have an opportunity. And once again, I want to thank Mayor, Council, and the staff for just doing a wonderful job.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Brown. Councilmember Blunt.
Yes, again, thank you for that. And I wanted to know where are we, because I'm not sure on helping the nonprofits and the businesses. Would that be a part of the mailer that Trina is speaking about? Or have we made a decision or?
Yeah, so we did
Yeah, but Mayor, let me
agree.
just say this
Oh,
right here.
sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah, no, this, particularly this right here is for all the homeowners. That piece with the businesses, that's different. So go ahead, man. But this particular one that I just spoke to is for all the residents, not the businesses or nonprofits.
Right. So I was going to say, we had talked about asking staff when we approved the money for the nonprofits and businesses to develop the application so that we could share that with members of the community. But I was going to ask, if you don't mind, Councilmember Brown, would you be willing to work with Mr. Jeffries to develop a similar postcard that we could send out to our nonprofits and businesses, since you guys already have that flow
Absolutely.
down, and
Yeah.
no sense in reinventing the wheel.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Because
absolutely. But would like to.
thank you. Because to Councilmember Blunt's point, we really do want to start targeting those businesses and nonprofits who are in need as well. And I love the phased approach, so we don't overwhelm staff by hitting everyone at once, but just really being thoughtful about, how many we approach or hit at what time, so we can make sure that we don't put the information out there and then it takes 6 months to process it. So thank you for giving some thought to that as well. Let me just scroll and make sure I got all the hands. Okay, so with that, we are going to move forward with the next update under new business. And we talked about this in the council work session, that the Maryland Municipal League Fall Conference conflicts with our regularly scheduled work session, as well as the council meeting for October 12th. So wanted to have a formal vote by the council to move both meetings to Monday, October 3rd. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Rout. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilmember Blunt. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. And similarly, we discussed the consultants to help with a consultant to help us move our new municipal center project forward, as well as the new trade school. And there was agreement amongst the team to do that in an effort to support town staff, not just now, but even once we have a new town administrator on board, to have that additional bandwidth, because 2 major capital projects occurring at one time is going to require a lot of administration and coordination, as well as communication flow. So with that, just want to call for a vote to approve staff moving forward with an RFP for a consultant for the municipal center and trade school.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Brown. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember McBride. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
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 Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. We'll table this item because there's really no vote that needs to be happening at this time. This is going back to the work session discussion and the recommendations from Councilmember Rout. So we just want to move forward in that effort as we continue investigating information regarding rent stabilization programs for our residents. And then moving forward with item D on the agenda, I wanted to just point out, this was in our council packet. Mr. Charnovich shared that we received good news in response to our grant application that was done in coordination with CCAR. And so I'll read the message from CCAR specifically. Good afternoon, Mr. Charnovich. I have great news for the town of Bladensburg. You may remember that the town of Bladensburg agreed to join Central Kenilworth Avenue Revitalization, also known as CDC, CCAR, and the Neighborhood Design Center to increase tree canopy within the town under the Urban Trees Grant Program. We received notice of award on July 15, 2022 from the Chesapeake Bay Trust to plant as many as 300 trees throughout the town and unincorporated areas of Bladensburg. So the email goes on, and they note that they'll need to sit down with Mr. Tarnovich to start charting out this fall and for the spring, the areas where these trees need to go. But similar to the stormwater management conversation we were having earlier, this just furthers the efforts to implement measures that are natural to help with the stormwater collection and minimization of stormwater flow off and pushing pollutants into our bay and other waterways by developing this tree planting program where the tree roots will grab and collect and filter a lot of those water, heavy rains and waters that flow through the town on too frequent of a basis. So congratulations, Bladensburg, another grant in the books. We can plant up to 3 trees. Not only is that going to help with our air quality significantly, but again, it'll go a long way in helping with our stormwater management mitigation efforts. Any comments or questions? Let me scroll. Sorry, I'll hold on. Okay, no hands. All right, so the next item that we have on the agenda, which I'm super excited about, I hope residents aren't upset, but the speed camera program is in full effect. And I hope all of our residents are abiding by the speed limits, especially in the school zone. So Chief, I want to turn it over to you for an update on this program that has been a long, long time in coming. We're so happy it's finally up and operational.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council, colleagues, and community. Yes, man, we are in full enforcement mode at this time. We began issuing warnings July 21st, and we went into enforcement mode August 10th. And today, we have recorded 1,224 speeding violations in the town. So we are continuing to work with our vendors to obtain permits to put our cameras on state roads. We are very close to having those permits approved. And once that is accomplished, we will move the speed cameras out, and state roads would include Annapolis 450, Edmiston Road, as well as Kenworth Avenue. So we will have our cameras out to slow motorists down driving through our town to keep our pedestrians and residents safe.
Chief, thank you for that update. I just want to make sure my audio didn't count out. Did you say over 1,000 violations?
Yes, ma'am. 1,224 violations so far. And
wow.
We just went in full enforcement mode August 10th.
So that's why I was asking, because I wrote down August 10th and I thought that can't be right. Oh my goodness. Today's only September 12th. So we're literally talking almost 30 days to see. You're going to slow some people down in the community. And that's a good thing, especially now that school's back in session.
Yeah, we want to let the residents know those aren't paparazzis behind them, those flashing lights. If you exceed the posted speed limit, expect to be held accountable.
Councilmember Blood, I see your hand. I'm sorry for laughing.
We're not laughing because there's cameras. It's just that safety to our children while going to school. Yes. But Chief, I have to ask a question. Even though the violations, could you put a total behind it if it was charged, or is no total? I mean,
well, 1,224 times 40. Each citation is $40.
Wow. Okay. Okay, Vito.
Okay, 40 is better than 100.
Yeah, I'm grabbing my calculator so I can do the math here. So 40 times 12, 24.
That's why I called Vito. I thought he could just
1184.
Okay.
Wait, no, that's not right. Sorry. No. Clear everything out. I'm sorry, I had another thing going. And $48,960.
And there's going to be some lag there between payment processing and going through the vendor and a third party.
Administrative, so. Right.
Right. So working with our vendors, the good thing about it, if you do receive a citation and fail to pay it, you can request a court date. But those that choose not to pay, will not be allowed to register their vehicles. So that's the caveat to it, that if you want to keep your motor vehicle registration current, you must pay the citations. Motor vehicles will not allow residents to renew their registrations until they satisfy the tickets.
And Chief, that's part of the importance of going this way, because there was no real, I hate to say it this way, no teeth in the process before. If people didn't pay, there really weren't any consequences. But going that additional step now to where it's flagging them at MVA, I think is going to get the response that we need, which is just to have people slow down and be safe on the roads. But Councilmember Brown, I see your hand, and then Mr. Tonelli, I'll come over to you.
Thanks, Mayor. And Chief, I think those guidelines, they probably fall within the state regs, right?
Yes. So it's considered a non-moving violation, even though it is, if I will give you a ticket with a radar gun, it is a moving violation because I will cite the driver specifically. But because it is a camera and it's capturing the speed of the car, the owner would get the ticket without the points on their license.
Okay. And you know, I really think it's good because we are Bladensburg residents as well. So we definitely want our residents to know that it's important, because we have people who just come through, speed through, who don't live here, and we're looking after the safety for all. So best way not to get a ticket is just to slow down and obey, obey the speed limit, especially when you're going through these neighborhoods. And it's just critical, and it's just important. So I just want the residents to know, and just want to reiterate that we are doing this for the safety of our children, of our residents, and the safety for all. And it's because we care.
Yes, ma'am. And keep in mind, we have 6,500 students walking through our communities, and we have our senior citizens who want to get out and exercise and walk. So we're trying to make sure that everyone stays safe, as well as we want our drivers to obey the posted speed limit.
Yes, and hopefully we'll be able to, address the area. I saw something addressed right there by the public playhouse. So I guess once we get to the state roads, we'll be able to slow that down, because that's a highly traveled pedestrian area right there. And they've put up some pedestrian safety measures, giving them a little chance to cross over. But I guess that'll come.
Yeah, thank you, Councilmember Brown. I want to get Councilmember Rao in on this. I saw her hand, or I'm sorry, Mr. Tonelli was next, and then I'll come to Councilmember Rao. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Tonelli.
Actually, Chief already answered my question about the non-moving versus moving violation and how it's recorded. So thanks.
Okay, perfect. Councilmember Rao.
Thank you, Mayor James, for calling on me. Chief Collington, I do have a question. Well, kudos to your team for, finally getting this up and running. But I would like to know, at what threshold would you and the vendor and your staff determine that the camera would need to be moved? And would that reset the, 30-day period or something? I remember we said that these stations are movable. So my question is, what would your staff need to see to recommend to the vendor that the camera would need to be moved to another location? And then my follow-up question I do have a follow-up question to that. And so can you answer that, please?
So once we notice that the drivers are starting to pay attention to the posted speed limit, and they start to slow down, then that's the time that we can have that discussion of moving it to another location where we are experiencing high volume of speeders. So we'll move it out to that area, like say for instance 450. Once we get the permits, I mean, you guys, everyone sees 450 and Kenworth Avenue. It's like a racetrack out there,
Yeah.
you know, and they're speeding down there, and we've been out there with a couple pedestrians were struck, especially on 450. One pedestrian was struck so hard, knocked his teeth out his mouth. So we want to make sure that we get these cameras move around our whole town. But to answer your question, when we make a decision to move it, is when we see the violations start to decrease. That means people they've gotten the message that they need to slow down in those areas. And you said you had a follow up.
Yes, thank you. So so I asked it, I'm gonna re-ask it. So does the 30-day period restart if we move the camera to another location?
Yes, so we will, if every time we move it, we will do a warning phase in that area, just to let motorists know that the cameras are there, to give them opportunity. Because first and foremost, what we want to do is educate our drivers to slow down in the community. So we want to give them the warning to let them know that these cameras are here.
Thank you. Good work.
I agree. Excellent job, Chief. And thank you for that update on the speed camera program. At this time, still kind of shifting or sticking with the public safety area. This is more of just a brief update, but as everyone knows, there's been a number of mass shootings throughout 2022, and it's not new. It's just, it's gotten more, I think, more egregious with the Uvalde shooting, the grocery store shooting in Buffalo, and the predominantly African-American neighborhood. And so over the summer, I did sign on to a letter with NLC. This was local elected officials basically urging Congress to act, and to act now with some common sense gun legislation. Because as much as we want to help our local communities, the reality is this needs to happen at that federal level, where the necessary authority lies in terms of permits, who can and who can't obtain guns and things of that nature. So following that, Mr. Charnovich turned me on to an organization called Mayors Against Illegal Guns. And so I did join up with that organization, and we'll put out a press release sometime this month, but just wanted to update the council and the community to let you know I did sign on with Mayors Against Illegal Guns, and there's a statement of principles, which I'll just read briefly, but the idea is just to share with you what the mission is, and hopefully we can leverage some of the activity in Prince George's County to help achieve getting rid of or minimizing and ultimately getting rid of illegal guns in Bladensburg. And so it simply says, whereas as mayors, our problems may look different from town to town, but we are united in our duty to do everything we can to protect our residents from the threat of gun violence. Whereas every year, nearly 40,000 Americans are killed with guns and 85,000 Americans are shot and wounded as a result of gun assaults, unintentional shootings, attempted gun suicides, and shootings by law enforcement, devastating families and communities across the country with a disproportionate impact on Black and Latino X people. Now, therefore, we resolve to work together to advance the following principles: collect and publish data to better understand gun violence in our communities, center racial equity in our efforts to reduce gun violence, advocate for gun legislation at the local, state, and federal level, advance policies and practices that reduce firearm suicides and unintentional shootings, invest in survivor services and community-based violence intervention programs, advance enforcement strategies that ensure public safety for residents, defend our democracy from armed intimidation, implement comprehensive tracing of crime guns, bring an end to unauthorized shootings by police and hold law enforcement accountable, use the courts to advance gun safety, and use purchasing power to improve gun safety, and then finally invite other cities to join us in this effort. So again, I'll work with Mr. Charnovich and Mr. Jeffries to put out a more detailed press release about this, but wanted to share that information with you all, because now that we're going into another school year, we all want to be vigilant. We want to keep our community safe, and especially our children. We want to do everything that we can to prevent any sort of gun violence, particularly with our students. And we've had a couple of scares already at Bladensburg High School this school year. And we just, again, I encourage everyone to work together and to be diligent in our efforts to prevent this, working with law enforcement. It's not their job alone. They need us in the community, supporting them, doing our part, reporting when we see something, say something, but also working on strategies to provide people with other resources instead of just converting to violence every time there's a disagreement or issue. And so that concludes my report on that item. At this time, I want to turn it over into the staff reports, beginning with Mr. Tonelli, starting off with the treasurer report.
Give me 1 second. Everybody see it? Treasurer's report, financial summary.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, good. All right. I don't see it on my end, so I don't know what's coming up. This is more of a year-end report for FY22, since really we are just starting September or partway through September, and we just finished closing out the fiscal year. We still have some straggling bills that come in that we have to track down vendors and say, hey, you know, where are these? So this allows us to close out the fiscal year, and I could just I did a full summary. Just touch on some highlights really quick. We budgeted to receive $7 million in revenues. We received 95% of those revenues. We had some we didn't receive the speed camera program of $100,000 budget because that just started at the end of the fiscal year. So that deferred those revenues there under service charges. We did better on personal I'm sorry, it's late. On personal property tax, which is the business personal property tax, on inventories, furnitures and fixtures, and income tax. This was kind of talked about all year long at my conferences. They kept this date between the controller's office and also Board of Estimates kept upping the anticipated revenues because they're realizing that the pandemic didn't have as much adverse effect on the economy as they thought, especially those with the higher wage earners. Now, of course, the lower wage earners in the retail and restaurant business, it did hit, you know, but the ones that are paying the bulk of the taxes, they found out that it did not adversely affect them and actually weathered the storm pretty well. So they upped the revenues and estimates, which upped the collections, which brought in more revenues to the town. So we received 95% of the budget revenues. Oh, let me touch on this real quick. Fund balance transfer, pretty much a rounding error. We budgeted to use $536,000 of the fund balance. Right now, it looks like we're going to use about $16,000. Dust hasn't settled yet, but that's just that's pretty much breaking even for the town. That means the expenses exceeded revenues. Now, if we want to be aggressive, we could transfer a little bit more of the ARPA out, but I just would like to kind of close the books and move on because I'd rather have specific ARPA related expenditures instead of just trying to make a rounding difference so we break even. But that's just me. Expenses by department, pretty much in line across the board because the revenues are at 95%. We kept the expenses by department down to 95% overall. Mayor and council, right on budget. Town administrator was over budget primarily because of the increased costs in the Port Towns Call Bus program. We had that budgeted to pause the entire year, but we kicked that service back up again, and we realized a full year of expenses against it. Town clerk, under budget, as well as finance overall. Public safety, even with staff vacancies, we're still at 100% of the budget, and that was because really what was offset by any staff vacancies during the year, we got hit pretty hard with a workers' compensation increase rate, which really jumped it up. But overall, the police department had stayed right within budget. Public Works, under budget because of the Director of Public Works position was in there, along with some other expenses that did not happen this year. So that goes towards the savings. ARPA projects, as I talked about about an hour ago, we had budget $350,000. We identified $250,000 of expenditures. And the grants expenses for the final closeout of the, I got mixed up, I'm sorry, 57th or 58th Avenue project with CDBG. So that's it in a nutshell. We started our audit process. As I said, now we can get everything to the auditor, all the financials and all the backup schedules that go along with it to start the audit. We've been sending documentation back and forth about, minutes and everything else, and any changes during the year, and also, this is just through June of FY22. We really haven't had a whole lot of action in July and August. I mean, I pretty much showed you with the ARPA expenditures this year so far in the last 2 months, what's been going on besides normal payroll and utilities. And I'll do a financial report for this fiscal year at the next meeting, which should cover the first quarter. If anybody has any questions.
Any questions from the council? Okay, let me, hold on, Mr. Talley, let me scroll down the page, make sure. Okay, nope, no questions. Thank you for that.
And everybody can always contact me if you have any, I know financials seem a little daunting and everything, but if anything jumps out, any questions, shoot me an email, call me. I mean, that's, I stare at the stuff all the time, so.
They're not daunting the way you present them. You make them fun. So I don't think you see any hesitation to reach out with questions to Chief Collington and Officer Reinhardt for public safety and code enforcement.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor, Council, and community and colleagues. I just want to start off by saying, first, I want to recognize today is National Police Women's Day. So we want to thank all of our female law enforcement officers and thank them for the hard work and dedication that they do every day out here, especially in this challenging time. We want to especially shout out our female police officers, Sergeant, Detective Sergeant Ramirez, as well as Officer Thornton. Those two women really carry the flag for the organization, and they represent the women in law enforcement very well. So I want to do a special shout out to them and all of the women that serve. Our crime stats so far for the month of August. Our officers responded to 845 calls for service, and they range from assaults to just trespass. And I just want to say that, with 845 calls for service, officers out there, I want to commend them for the good job that they do each and every day. For Part 1 crimes, we had a total of 42 Part 1 crimes for the month of August. We had 2 aggravated assaults, 3 burglaries, 8 motor vehicle thefts, 3 robberies, 1 theft from building, 12 theft from autos, and 6 thefts. And we had a couple, 6 porch pirate thefts, where suspects go up and they steal packages off of porches. And then we had 1 theft accessory to motor vehicle. We had one car, and it was really discouraging to me, very kind of embarrassing that it was feet from the station where someone stole 4 rims, all 4 tires off a car. You know, that should be personal to all of us in law enforcement, that someone would be that brazen to come that close to the police station and take 4 wheels off someone's car. So we will be out, you know, enforcing, stepping up our enforcement throughout the town, not just for that, for any crime. So there was a slight reduction from July. Usually in the newsletter, you'll see I usually put the month before to show whether crime is up or down. So we had a slight reduction in crime, part 1 crimes from July. Let's see. So I'll let Mr. Reinhardt do his, so I don't take up my 5 minutes there. But many of us know Friday, September the 9th, started the juvenile curfew in Prince George's County. For any of the youth that are under the age of 17, they are to be in the house between the hours Sunday to Thursday from 10 p.m. to 5, Friday and Saturdays from 11:59 to 5 a.m. And this will go on for the next 30 days. And I have spoken with our staff and reminded them that the first and foremost, we want to continue our relationship with our youth and just educate them. First, we want to reach out. We know the parents remind parents that there is a curfew in Prince George County, and we want to make sure that everyone is abiding by it before we take enforcement. We just want to thoroughly educate our community and our parents to let them know, please bring your children in the house before 10 p.m. I want to talk about the trauma kits that I want to thank the council for being open-minded and working with the police department to provide $43,000 of their ARPA funds to make sure that we can go into the schools and provide a trauma kit to every teacher. Every classroom in town of Bladensburg will have a trauma kit in it. And so far today, we have trained over 330 school teachers in the town of Bladensburg. Tomorrow, we will be training 150 more, which will bring that total to 480 teachers trained in the town of Bladensburg. And I want to commend our teachers and principals for being open-minded and taking this training very serious, because what we learned in best practices is that if someone knew how to apply a tourniquet, a sucking chest wound, gauze on there, could have saved their life. And now that we have provided this training to them, we want to make sure that all of our school teachers stay prepared. So tomorrow we'll be at Bladensburg High School with 150 more school teachers. So we will have a remaining 180 teachers to train, and then we'll have met our goal of 660 teachers trained in the town of Bladensburg. And I want to give applause to our training staff, Sergeant Thompson, Officer Burnett, Code Enforcement Supervisor Reinhardt, and our dispatcher, Baden, for stepping up and making this happen for our school teachers and our parents, as well as our students. Because I always tell them, they may not have to use it for an active shooter, but this training could save if someone in wood shop or somewhere around the class get cut, or even at home, they would know how to apply the proper tourniquet and stop the bleed. So I just want to say kudos to everyone that stepped up for that. We couldn't have done it without them. And that will conclude my report. I want to make sure I don't go over.
Too late. It's all good stuff. But before we go to Code Enforcement Officer, Councilmember Rout had her hand raised. So I want to give her a chance before we switch to Code Enforcement. Go ahead, Councilmember.
My comment includes Code Enforcement, so I don't know
Want
if
him
it's
to
out of
go?
order. Yeah, I think.
Okay,
Please.
thank you. Officer Reinhardt.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. I just want to give a few highlights for code enforcement. I just encapsulated in like the summer 2022. We've actually worked on a bunch of projects. One of our biggest things was we actually addressed 47 abandoned vehicles in the residential area. We addressed 2 in the business area, 5 in the apartment area. We impounded 2 of those vehicles. Year to date, we've addressed 167 abandoned vehicles in the town of Bladensburg, and we've impounded 37 of those vehicles. We've also posted 10 properties for abatement, issued stop work orders to several locations in Bladensburg for building without permits. We assisted the Public Works Department with abatements in the 5400 block of Tilden Road, 5100 block of Upshur Street, and in the 4200 block of Evanston Road. We actually assisted a resident remove a large hornet nest from her front door. She reached out to us. She was at her wit's end, didn't know what to do. So we actually were able to go up to her and assist her and get some wasp spray and spray it and, get it removed for her. As Chief mentioned earlier, assisted with the TACMED training, to several staff members and teachers throughout the town schools. And I have one announcement. Over the summer, we actually hired a 3rd code enforcement officer. His name is Mr. Barry Wade. He comes to the town of Bladensburg with 20 plus years experience of code enforcement. He's retired from Prince George's County Department of Permits, Enforcement Inspections, and has spent the last 10 years within the municipalities, most recently coming from the city of Mount Rainier. At that time, it completes my report, and I know Councilwoman Marat, you had a question?
Yes, thank you. So I just want to thank Chief Collins and Officer Reinhardt for being very responsive over the month of August to concerns. I was sent an emergency request to respond to a couple issues on Spring Road, and I didn't need to come the residents followed the proper protocol. They spoke with Officer Reinhardt. He came out, the police department came out expeditiously, and they took care of the problem. I think that we are turning corners because we are staffed up. And so I want to applaud responsiveness to our residents' needs and concerns deeply, because not all the time our residents say thank you. Every time that they have emailed and I have sent it over, you are responding. So I want to give you all kudos, but this is what you've always been doing. I know where's code, our residents, but like I tell the residents, if you see something, you have to say something. Our code enforcement and our police are not searching for, they're not like, this isn't Mulberry, Councilmember Brown, that word Mulberry. Like, they're not certain, we are actually responding. There are people getting carjacked and things like that. So I just want to say thank you, because everything I've sent over you while I was on recess, you all have gone above and beyond. And so I thank you, and I look forward to continuing to serve our residents and to continue to ask them to respond. Thank you.
And I appreciate that, Councilwoman. And something else that the residents kind of really don't understand is we're limited where we can go on certain properties within the town. So if there's something in your neighbor's backyard, just let us know. Invite us on your property. I can't see it from the street, but if you're something that's really bothering you, please just let me know. I have no problem. You invite me on your property. I'll bring the coffee. We can sit and talk for a few minutes and just say, hey, and then we can figure out what's going on. But I greatly appreciate that hearing from you.
And just on a similar note, definitely want to express my gratitude to code enforcement in particular. I know I had shared a couple of emails, one of which was about some illegal auto repair activity. and appreciate you. I didn't get the exact address, but you were able to help me figure out exactly where it was and jump right on that on top of the other concerns that the resident expressed. And so again, we encourage people, reach out to code enforcement. They're your direct line, or the police department. If you let us know, we've got to contact them anyway. So sometimes it's better to go to them first. And if you don't hear back, after you've tried once or twice, then definitely contact your council members, contact me, and we're here to assist. But sometimes you may slow things down coming to the council because we're at work during the day when our staff are here Monday through Friday, and we don't want to be a barrier. It's just we have jobs too, and we have supervisors. And so we may not be able to see your email coming in at 11:15 a.m. because we don't want to get in trouble with our bosses. So just please keep that in mind. Go to the staff first. The main number to the office, 301-927-7048. The police number, 301-864-6080. Reach out to our awesome team. They're there to help you, and we're here to support as well. But Chief, want to definitely applaud all the efforts that you're taking to really innovate and make us truly that 21st century level of police department in Bladensburg. We are so grateful for your leadership.
Thank you, Mayor.
And code enforcement, 301-927-0330.
Sorry, I forgot that number.
That's
yes.
Okay. I want to make sure I get it out there.
Thank you for that. Thank you. All right, so we will move on. We unfortunately don't have Mr. Charnovich with us, and I didn't see Mr. Hall, so that will conclude the staff reports for tonight. We will move forward with the mayor and council reports, beginning with Ward 1, Councilmember Brown.
Thank you for that, Mayor. And I would definitely like to thank our staff for just doing a wonderful, outstanding job. I mean, we know that a lot of things go on out in the town, illegal dumping, a whole host of things. But the important thing, like you said, if you see something, say something, and we can help. But I would just want to say welcome back. Although we go out and we are in recess, but we are still diligently working for our residents here because we love our jobs and we love what we do. I did attend a host of activities. Back to school backpack program with Decatur Heights, National Night Out, celebration of the Mexican Independence Day, and a lot of other activities that went on in the town. But I just, within my 3 minutes here, I do want to reiterate, remember that the children are back in school. Definitely, please be mindful. And please, when you see a school as well, when you see a school bus and they have those signals on, and it's asked you to stop, please do not go around the bus because some children are crossing the street. They have just been very, very close calls. So I just say slow down, pay attention, just be respectful, and remember that our children are back in school. Also, as Chief alluded, well, not alluded, but as Chief spoke about the 30-day curfew. And I just want to just a little bit more on that is that the ages are 16 and under, and there are some exceptions. So definitely go to the county executive's website because there are some exceptions if the youth is accompanied by a parent or a guardian authorized adult. With a parent consent, youth is engaged in interstate travel, youth is on an errand, is directed by a parent until 12:30 p.m. So just make sure that you go to the website, get the information, be informed, because I think at the end of the day, as Mayor, when she spoke about the gun violence, and some of this right here is to just try to help curb some of the gun violence because we love our youth and we want them to be safe and so just want to know a little bit more about it. Go to the county executive's website and read about it. And then there's also remember to vote in the upcoming general election. That's Tuesday, November the 8th, 2022. So that's pretty much all I have. And once again, just like to thank the staff. What are you doing, Mayor? What are you doing?
I was trying to show the clock, 16 seconds. I was like, you're doing good.
I'm doing good. But yeah, so once again, glad to be back. And look forward to continuing to do the work and then continue to serve.
Thank you, Councilmember Brown. Next, we'll hop over to Ward 2 with Councilmember McBride. I think you're on mute still. Sorry.
Yeah, you're on mute.
There we go.
Sorry. Maybe I'm not as excited to be back then. Okay, but thank you, Mayor, and to all the council. I did a few things during the summer. I attended the block parties, and I worked with the green team in setting up the event for the Boswick House. Also, continue conversations with them because there's some other things that we wanted to do with possibly rain barrels. And I'm glad Councilmember Rout was on that one. And I've just kind of just been around, just in the area, you know, being accessible, especially to Parkview, the seniors here. So they had a lot of requests from me for this summer month. But I'm back and I'm ready to work in whatever capacity is needed.
Thank you, Councilmember. The farm committee.
Oh yeah, the farm committee.
Yes.
Yes, I've been on quite a few Zoom meetings with the farm committee throughout the summer. They had scheduled, we were supposed to attend a big farm event, and I found out Friday they canceled it. So I was looking forward to that one.
Well, thank you so much for your service throughout the summer months, and glad to have you back as well. Now that summer recess is over, at this time, we'll stick with Ward 2 and move over to Councilmember Blunt, who's been very busy getting ready for this week.
Well, actually, the staff have, and I'm sorry. Good evening, everyone. I do like to say thank you, staff, for stepping in. I'm not used to that. I'm used to taking control, doing everything, but just having a staff who see the vision and putting that vision together, and they keep you on your toes. I'm busy over here on my job. Of course, I have a boss. I can't get out as much as a lot of you can, but you do keep me updated. I just want to say thank you. And if there's a senior in the community, please come out on Thursday to the senior gathering. I promise you, you would not be disappointed. Again, I also would like to say thank you, Council McBride, for being right there with me with the senior gathering. Again, for my love for the seniors goes so far, and I know I could be doing more with the youth, but the seniors are my prize in the community. And again, thank you so much, and I look forward to you, Chief, with the food that you will be preparing for the seniors. And again, thank you, and please come out. Please come out. You won't be disappointed on this Thursday on the 25th. And again, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Councilmember, can you remind everybody of the time, the start and end time, just for the residents who might be watching?
It's from 10 to 2.
Perfect.
It didn't really start closing down around 1:30, 1:45, but from 10 to 2. We won't keep you long, but come out and engage and get reconnected with your fellow seniors. COVID is here to stay. It's not a dirty word. It's just a get to know about COVID, staying safe. It's not going anywhere. Please reconnect. Get out your apartment. Stop being scared. Get out your apartment and engage. Stay your distance, wear your mask, wash your hands, but please do not stay in your apartment. That's a lonely place. That's a lonely place.
And Councilmember, hopefully Rocky can help give some emotional support.
Yes, I'm scared of dogs. So. I'm scared of dogs, but yeah, have him please to visit senior buildings, to come into the senior buildings so that the ones who love dogs can come down and meet the dog, meet them. I'm sorry, I'm just not an animal person.
It's okay. But thank you for that suggestion. Hopefully the chief and the team can make that happen.
Okay,
so,
thank you all so much.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And next up, we have Councilmember Rout shifting back over to Ward 1.
Good day, council, mayor, staff. I have a very short report. Unfortunately, I experienced a lot of death in my family over this last, so I wasn't able to respond like usual. But I did attend the Bostwick celebration, the Bostwick educational summer passport program, where I was really, I learned a lot by participating. And so I just thank the council for sponsoring that activity. In addition, I've responded to concerns for the community as it relates to housing assistance, mitigated issues with landlord-tenant issues, in addition to responding in pockets of Ward 1 as it relates to neighbor code enforcement issues that needed to be rectified. I participated in a host of backpack celebrations. In addition, I attended a backpack celebration that wasn't sponsored by the town, but I did participate with a couple of partners. I would like to take this time to thank Crystal Williams, who's a Ward 1 resident, who is really rocking. Like, she's done a lot of work related to just supporting residents and their needs. She also made a couple recent donations to the CAT unit. So I just want to thank her for her support and her time. Legislatively, I have participated with the PG CMA executive board with the various surveys and readying ourselves for the work that we will be taking on as a member of the board. We do have a PGCMA meeting this week. I will be in attendance. Lastly, I just want to give a shout out to all of the moms who survived the summer, right? And their kids are back in school. It was a tough one because I started a new job, and so like navigating a new job with working from home and having kids from home was really hard. It was harder than it was in COVID. So I just applaud all the parents who work from home. We should have like a support group or something. So that's the end of my report. I yield back.
Thank you for that report, Councilmember Rao, and for supporting the Summer Passport Program concept at Bostwick House and really getting excited about bringing the opportunity for young people to experience Bladensburg history. And also really appreciate all the work you did with Now Foundation on the big backpack giveaway back in August. That was awesome from what I heard. But in terms of my report, let me start the clock so there's no favoritism. I'm just going to do highlights and then I'll provide the written report to be posted. But definitely want to, in focusing back on July and August activity, again, thank everyone who made our July 1st fireworks celebration a huge success. The coordination between Chief Collington's team on public safety with the fire department to ensure everyone at the park got in and out safely, to ensure the fireworks went off safely with no incidences, having the EMTs there. I mean, they worked in such huge coordination. And then I need to call him Captain Sean because Captain Reinhardt helping to map things out, working with Mr. Jeffries and just making sure things flowed a certain way. Or maybe I need to call you Deputy Sean, just some sort of special recognition. I mean, the way that you all just came together, collaborated with our other partners to ensure that we had enough coverage in every single area to keep people having a good time, but all safely was phenomenal. Also want to just thank the council for, as Councilmember Rout says, supporting the Summer Passport Program. That was a wonderful opportunity to have about 20 kids come and learn about Bostwick, kids who grew up in Prince George's County who'd never even heard of it. And so they got history, which, believe it or not, they absolutely loved hearing about and were so impressed by that, but also had the opportunity to work with Green Mechanics on a sustainability effort. So they were able to show them a demo of how they how they scrub algae from the Anacostia and actually use that to clean the river. And then also did the implementation of rain barrels for the first time. I believe that's the first time the town has installed rain barrels. And so doing that on our historic property to help with stormwater mitigation was a huge step, huge first for us. And we look forward to doing more of that as time goes on. With the neighborhood watch team, we were able to get out for a couple of walks, but honestly, between the heat and the summer showers over July and August, it did make it difficult to find good days for us to get out there and do that safely. So we did get a couple in. We also did a few community block parties with Neighborhood Watch and the police department. The idea was get people out of their homes talking to us about what's going on their block. People sometimes have a habit of going to work and coming home, dealing with their kids, and maybe they speak to their neighbor to the left or right and not super engaged. And so we focused over on Ward 1 for one of the events and then Ward 2 for the other, in areas where people have complained, we don't see you guys very often. We came straight to their blocks in an effort to just get the conversation going. So look forward to working with you all to do more of that. We did have a progress meeting with the Bladensburg High School team in terms of making sure that project with the track and field is moving forward. So as I shared in the work session, that update there will continue to just make sure that they don't forget about us and that the track and field, which is so important to our students, continues to move forward and we get that project to implementation. So the timer went off. I just wanted to finish the thought, but that and other details will be included in my written report. And so with that, that does complete tonight's mayor and council reports. And so we're now at the point of adjournment. Parting is such sweet sorrow, but may I have a motion? I'm sorry. Is there a hand up? Yes.
My hand is, my hand is up just real quick. So excited to be back. Real quick though, I do want to give a shout out to the National Police Women's Day. Thank you all for definitely protecting and serving the families as well. And also just want to let the residents know that the 47th annual cookout is this coming Saturday at the Bladensburg Waterfront Park from 12 p.m. until 4 p.m. And that's with Senator Augustine, Delegate Fennell, Delegate Ivy, and Delegate Juanita Fisher. So please come out to the Bladensburg Waterfront Park this Saturday for the cookout. 47.
Absolutely. And I'll post the flyer too, so that way we make sure we help get the word out, because Bladensburg has to be like in the building. We have to be. All right. With that, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Rout. Is there a second?
A second.
Seconded by Councilmember Blunt. Any further discussion? Councilmember Brown, your hand is up.
Oh, I meant the Lord.
Okay. All right.
Thank you for acknowledging that, though. Thank you.
No problem. Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
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 Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you all for joining. We're adjourned. Have a great night.
Good night.
Have a good night.
I'm coming to see Rocky right now.
Okay.
I don't have no kids.
Right? I'm on my way.
Kid's not here, so I'm coming. See you in a little bit.
Okay.
Rocky is beautiful. He's a beautiful dog.